These are the eyes of Dr. William Palmer. He looks innocent enough, doesn't he? A respectable Victorian doctor in the small English town of Rugeley. His patients liked him. His horse racing friends thought he was a good sport. Yet he hid a terrible secret. He was a mass murderer. Or was he? My name's Stephen Bates and I've written a book about him called The Poisoner. It looks again at the long forgotten case of one of the most notorious murderers of the whole of the 19th century. What scared the Victorians was that Palmer was an outwardly ordinary church-going doctor, a pillar of the community. He didn't look like a murderer. But when he was arrested in November 1855 for poisoning his best friend with strychnine, a black story emerged. It was a terrifying, deadly, newly discovered poison. It throttles its victims and causes terrible convulsions as they suffocate, killing them within minutes. No one had ever been charged with strychnine poisoning before, but many of Palmer's nearest and dearests had died suddenly recently. His young wife, his brother, his mother-in-law, 4 of his 5 children, other friends too. Palmer was not convicted because of a police investigation, but because of a vengeful stepfather of his victim, convinced that his dear boy had been poisoned. He hunted Palmer down, remorselessly. And, more troubling still, not an ounce of poison was ever found in his victim's body. Was this a massive miscarriage of justice, or was Palmer guilty as charged? For my book, I went back to the original records, witness statements, and newspaper reports. I found Palmer's original medical notebook. There were the threatening letters from the moneylenders. If anything unpleasant occurs, you must thank yourself. Some of these documents were unread for 160 years. By the time of his arrest, Palmer owed the equivalent of more than £1 million today. He was a desperate man. It's a fascinating slice of Gothic Victorian life I've uncovered. Quite a melodrama. A seamy world remarkably like our own in many surprising respects. Did Palmer do it? Was he justly hanged? Read my book and come with me into a murky Victorian underworld of crime, murder, money and deceit. The Poisoner, the life and crimes of Victorian England's most notorious doctor, is published in the US by Overlook Press and in Britain by Duckworth.